The first question I'd like to throw out on the table to our panelists and to, well, you guys too, is quite kind of general, but how the language services industry, your job, line of work changed over the last 3 to 5 years? What does it take to succeed in the industry, and are there projections for its growth within the next 3 to 5 years? What say you?
It's a loaded question. I think the translation world has changed a lot. Maybe not in the 3 to 5 years, but from like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. I mean, I've been in it for 20 years now, so it's gone from translations handed over, written on a typewriter that I remember, to modeming, to the world we live in today. Everything is done by email, the written translations. So for it sitting in a translation company, that's sort of the technological steps. Obviously, other things have changed too. We're going in a direction where things are becoming more and more automated. That may have some advantages, but it has also a lot of disadvantages. And I think that's kind of the challenges we're facing today as translators. So this is maybe something that we can talk about a little bit more later on, or if anybody has specific concerns or questions regarding that, because it is really a burning topic right now. But maybe you have some other thoughts about changes, specific changes that we could mention.
Well, I'm certainly seeing, I found myself doing a lot more client education. And I think, so culturally there's a lot more awareness of translation with globalization, with the internet, but also with things like Google Translate. I've found a lot more clients who really think that some automated service that they find for free on the internet will fit their needs. And it's a lot of work to really educate clients. You know, ideally you screen your clients, you have enlightened clients who are already aware of your strengths and what it really takes. But I have found that I'm devoting a lot more time to client education. I have not yet read that book that came out last year, Found in Translation. I forget the duo of translators who wrote it. And I've run into people at cocktail parties who, you know, have just read the book, so when they hear I'm a translator, they say, oh, I just read this really interesting book, and it was fascinating. I have not yet read it because I've been too busy with work. But I think, you know, that the fact that it is being discussed in pop culture, and that so many people are encountering other languages online, on Facebook, you know, things like this, that really, there's a heightened awareness that's changing things.
In general, the translation has moved dramatically towards professionalization, and I think it's good news for everybody. It's good news for those of us who are in training and education as well. I don't know if you followed the statistics of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the government office. The latest projection, I've been following these statistics since the year 2000. And they've been getting higher and higher projections for translation. They lump translation and interpreting together. But the latest is for the decade from 2010 to 2020. The growth for translation and interpreting is projected to be 42%, which is far higher than the average of all other occupations. The previous projections were 22%, which was also higher than the average. The average for all other occupations at that time was 17%. I don't recall now the average, the current average. And I just read a report today about language industry in general. The growth, so that's projections, okay, future. But the growth of translation and interpreting during 2007 to 2013 was 33%. So this is pretty amazing. Now, this doesn't always translate into the working life of each of us. But
Certainly not. Certainly not.
because here we have to factor in language pairs, which industries.
Prices first.
Maybe prices.
No.
But also healthcare, let's say, contributes a lot. Medical interpreting, I think, adds a lot to this. But I think we can perhaps all think about finding our niches in this and maybe thinking more broadly about language services rather than just doing strictly translation. And I'm talking here as a trainer and an educator because I think about curriculum on a daily basis, about how can we educate our students to be better prepared for the market of tomorrow and to find the best possible path for themselves. And I'm thinking, do we need to have a narrower curriculum or a wider curriculum? And I think, of course, it's not easy to change these things, but I think I'm beginning to favor somewhat wider curriculum. And of course, education is not just teaching them the translation skills, but also the skills to build a business, the skills to be professionals in this world and to know how to interact in this world.
Does anyone have any questions so far that we need to address?